Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to give my first impressions on Our Dreams at Dusk, Shimanami Tasogare by Yuhki Kamatani. This is a new 7 Seas release. It'll be 4 volumes long, all of which should be out by the end of this year if the release date schedule stays the same. This is an LGBT story about this boy here, Kaname, I think is his name, and he is a high schooler. He just moved to this new town and therefore a new school, and his classmates are now starting to tease him that he's gay because I guess some of his new friends have found gay porn on his phone, and so he's trying to make it seem like it's not his. He says, "Oh, my brother put it on there as a joke." He starts using homophobic slurs to try and get them off the trail of the fact that he's gay. He's still trying to come to terms with what's going on with him. He's not 1,000% sure, but he's pretty sure that he's gay. And so it starts right off with him being super nervous, depressed, anxious, and just feeling like he wants to end everything. And he, as he's contemplating suicide, he meets this person and comes across this drop-in center. And so it's basically just a cozy little home that's open to the public and supposedly has other LGBT folks who come there for kind of some sanctuary. And so instead of killing himself, he starts kind of coming to this drop-in center. And it's really, really beautiful. I wasn't expecting. Sometimes you see a cover and you're like, oh, that's a beautiful cover, but I'm not expecting much from the art on the inside. And I underestimated this because the art in this is absolutely gorgeous. Let me find. It's just really breathtaking. The characters' faces and stuff. We get lots of really nice backgrounds and things. It's just done really, really beautifully. So the art is 10 out of 10. I love it. The story, absolutely in love with. I'm hearing a lot of people are. Oh, hold on a second. All right, little intermission. I just got a massive box of books. Anyway, to continue, I've heard a lot of people say that this is a really, really sad story and that it's heartbreaking, which it is, don't get me wrong. It's about this boy who's feeling so lost that he's thinking of killing himself. But I will say, as an individual who very much relates to this story, I didn't feel sad reading it. I felt hopeful. I felt very nostalgic, and it just filled me with this really warm feeling, which kind of seems bizarre, I guess, if you haven't experienced this yourself. But as somebody who basically lived through almost exactly this and ended up finding a drop-in center for LGBT people, and that became my home for a while, the place that I felt the most understood and the place that I found people who could relate to me. And school didn't matter, home didn't matter, nothing else mattered except this one place that I went to feel safe. And that's exactly what this is. And so this story, this volume felt so nostalgic and felt so wonderful because I'm an adult now, and I'm past that point in my life where this story's at, but I can read this and remember my own kind of journey and experience, and that feeling of home when you finally find people who understand you, and that feeling of self-hate and denial in which we see in this boy here in this volume trying to convince his classmates he's not gay, by using slurs and that he ends up regretting. You feel terrible about it because you're now stooping to their level of homophobia, but you're doing it not because you hate gay people, but because you think you are one and you hate yourself for it. So I didn't feel sad reading this. I felt very comfortable. I felt very nostalgic. I felt very warm. Because the moments when he starts meeting people that he can connect with were so like uplifting to me. And I hope that the rest of this story kind of continues on this path of hope, of finding your family and your chosen family and finding a place where you belong. But there's also a fun element of construction in this because they have a bit of like a nonprofit thing going on. And so there's a scene in this where they're doing some demolition, and again, right up like my alley, because I worked in construction with my father when I was a teenager. And I remember distinctly I had to tear down a brick fireplace with a sledgehammer, and I spent hours hitting these bricks with a sledgehammer and just like completely demolishing it. And I remember thinking, like, this is what I need right now. I just need to hit something with a hammer and not get in trouble for it. And I was able to just do it, and it was part of my job. And there's a moment where he is demolishing something, and it really struck a chord with me, because that is exactly how I felt when I was doing those things years ago. And yeah, everything about this was like hitting every single checkbox for me in what I wanted this to be. And I hope that the rest of the final 3 volumes continue to be amazing. I'm assuming they will be. Everybody says nothing but good things about this, as far as I've heard of people who've actually read the entire thing, or read at least past volume 1. But yeah, I highly recommend this story. If you're looking for anything LGBT that's not like a fan service thing, that's a legitimate story about people's experiences, pick this up. This is so beautifully done. Most people are finding it to be sad. Like I said, it's not a happy-go-lucky manga by any means. So be prepared to feel a bit depressed, I guess. But as someone who's kind of come out of that now, and this feels like I'm looking back into my own past, I can look on it fondly as opposed to being upset about it. So yeah, anyway, that's Our Dreams at Dusk. I highly recommend picking it up. I really hope we start getting more titles like this here, because I know they're out there in Japan, but they just haven't been brought over here yet. And this is one that I think it was Ray from Whimsical Pictures talked about this well over a year ago. And I remember thinking, this will never be published here. Unfortunately, I'll never get the chance to read this. And lo and behold, it's here. So I'm hoping that publishers see that these stories are important to people here and that we want more of them. So I'm happy to see that a lot of people are actually picking this up so far. Yeah, but if you haven't, I highly recommend that you do. It's so beautiful, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Anyway, if you've read this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to ask. I'd love to chat about it. And yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.